beach houses, scream to the ceiling. I was a gentleman living in tenements. Now I'm swimming in all the women I be 10. Went from bad boy to the crushed liniments. Now my dividends be the new Benjamins. She's a bold complexions, I like cinnamon. Main Street, I got some girls with pretty cinnamon. Come on, what you waiting for? Let the
Jennifer Lopez and Diddy are apparently linked.
When you were dating JLo, Will Smith and Jada tried to pick her up on a threesome and you were going to beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
You really heard that? Nah.
What? Yeah, I watched it on the internet. You're telling me I can't believe everything I read?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Now Diddy might be the reason JLo and Ben are done. Apparently, Ben doesn't want to be any part of all that Diddy drama, and JLo's knee deep in it now. Apparently, JLo witnessed a murder with Diddy.
She joins us now, sharing her story. Natanya, thank you so much for being with us. What was your reaction, Natanya, when you saw these massive raids at P. Diddy's two homes?
It was very emotional. I finally felt like justice would be done. Justice would be mine.
Yeah, and you have said since really right after the shooting that it was P. Diddy who shot you. I mean, I think you even said it to the doctor that night, right?
I said it immediately. I literally watched them pull out the guns. I've had a clear point of view. I mean, for God's sake, I got shot in my nose. I was facing them directly. I watched everything occur.
Did you sense right from the beginning that no one believed you?
Well, I don't think that was on my mind. I think first and foremost, I'm a mother. I'm a mother of 3. At the time, I was a mother of 2. And just surviving and getting home to my children was of the utmost importance to me. Being whole and being able to mother them. That was, primary on my list. I didn't have any reason to believe that to think that someone would not believe me. But as things unfolded, it was a very short period of time where I realized that's what, in fact.
Things are heating up. That 1999 nightclub shooting is back in the news, and guess who was there? Jennifer Lopez. JLo was even seen crying on American Idol, talking about an abusive relationship, allegedly with Diddy. Now, Diddy shot a guy in front of her at a club, so no wonder Ben's out.
Reportedly led to a relationship between Shine and Diddy where Shine would literally follow Diddy around everywhere like his shadow, just trying to soak up any information that he could get about making it in the record game. But these easily gifted riches left Shine acting like a spoiled kid, and reportedly he was known for calling up the bad boy offices, asking for more money, and complaining about the cars that he'd been given. He's not the Messiah, he's a very bad boy. Hey? Sorry. Apparently there was one incident where Shine was reportedly pissed that Puffy refused to buy him the Mercedes 600 model and would only shell out for the 500. So Shine asked the dealer that had sold him the 500 to put a 600 badge on the back, but hell, if you're going to lie about what model you're driving, you might as well be pushing that Benz 5 million. Nice. But none of that mattered because a week later, he wrecks the car. Nice one, Shine. So Diddy signed Shine, and reportedly he was considered Biggie's replacement. In fact, maybe a little too similar to Biggie. Shine had a deep, raspy voice which did sound a lot like Biggie's, but was kind of unusual for a guy that was so skinny and small. And quite frankly, if you go and listen to any of Shine's records, you are going to hear a dollar. Shine was being groomed to be the golden boy of Bad Boy Records and would make high-profile appearances on the albums of both Mace and Puff Daddy himself. But before Shine could even get the chance to drop his own solo effort, some shit would go down that would change Bad Boy and his life forever. On December 27th, 1999, Shine hit Club New York in Manhattan, and he was joined there by Puff Daddy and his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez. You know, Jen from the block. Now, in the same club that night were some tough Brooklyn street dudes. Specifically, a guy named Matthew Scar Allen and his friend Julius Jones, who supposedly were known to Shine at the time, but more about those guys later. Now, there's a lot of conflicting reports about what actually went down that night. Scar and his crew were reportedly upset by Diddy bumping into them and some champagne being spilled. This apparently was combined with general disrespect of Diddy just flossing on everybody in a mink coat and dripping with diamonds. It's a bit annoying. So one of the people in Scar's crew apparently was really offended by this and decided to retaliate by throwing a stack of money in Diddy's face. Now here's where the timelines get a little bit tangled. Now at this point the prosecution say that Shine pulled out a strap and started letting off shots into the crowd. But according to Shine, Julius was actually the one who pulled out a strap first, so Shine pulled out his gun and shot him in the shoulder.
But I definitely shot the guy that was trying to shoot me, I shot him in the shoulder.
At this point, security grabbed Shine, which caused his gun to go off in the air.
Studio with her.
And some witnesses suggested at this point Diddy pulled out a gun, which he denied. Following the chaos in the club, everybody runs outside, and Diddy and JLo managed to get back to his car along with his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf Jones. The car was owned by Bad Boy Records, and somebody else was driving. Now, at this point, reportedly, Diddy's car swerved around a police blockade and drove for 20 blocks whilst being chased by the police, even run. When they're stopped, a pistol is found under the front passenger seat in that car, as well as another pistol that's found on the floor along the route of the chase, allegedly thrown from the car. Meanwhile, Shine is arrested at the scene with a gun. So everybody, including JLo, end up at the police precinct for the night. And reportedly at this point, Diddy tried to bribe his driver with $50,000 to take the rap for the gun on his behalf, also offering him a $40,000 diamond ring that JLo had given Diddy as collateral. It's not a good look. So that kind of been a good morning after, but it took an entire year for this whole thing to come together and actually go to trial. And a lot of crazy stuff went down during that time. Shine went from golden boy to steaming turd real quick. Shine claimed that Puffy stopped talking to him throughout this entire period and actually attempted to block the release of his debut album. But in the end, that album did end up coming out in September of 2000. When Shine's self-titled album dropped, it ended up coming in at number 5 on the Billboard chart and moving around 900,000 units. But things wouldn't be good for Shine for very long, and in January 2001, just before the trial was set to start, he was actually in a car crash whilst driving without a license, leaving the 2 people in the vehicle in hospital with serious injuries. But Shine seemed to have escaped unscathed. But to be fair to him, you've got to be a pretty good driver to keep a Benz 5 million on the road. But still, not a good look for Shine, and it was actually after this incident that Puff Daddy's lawyer, Benjamin Brathman, asked Judge Solomon, who was ruling over the case, to try Shine and Diddy completely separately, though this was denied. Also, whilst this was going on, JLo and Puffy's relationship was publicly on the rocks, and there was a lot of speculation as to whether she would be called to the stand. During this time, JLo famously went to the Grammys with Puff Daddy while wearing an incredibly revealing dress, which supposedly was an attempt to try and distract the media from these pending charges.
Get out the way.
Julius says that he saw both Shine and Diddy holding guns in the club that night, and Natanya Rubin testifies that she saw Shine and Diddy both shooting guns in the club that night. And the doctor that examined her after the incident relayed to the court that she had said when she came into hospital that night that she had been shot in the face by Puff Daddy. Which is unusual, because usually women that get shot in the face by Puffy end up getting a single deal. So finally, over a year after this shooting took place, it's finally ready to go to court. And Diddy assembles an impressive legal team that looks like the Avengers of acquitted arseholes. This was an all-star team which included legendary lawyer, dead wife maker Go-Awaya, and inventor of the Prince Albert, Johnny Cochran. And he was joined by Benjamin Brathman, a famous mob lawyer who was known for defending Sammy the Bull Gravano. Before the trial's set to start, Puffy hosts a press conference. Puffy's legal position is pretty simple. Everything else is a lie, and he's totally innocent.
On Sunday at night,
Puffy barely speaks after his opening statement, which is unusual because he's usually always running his mouth, and his lawyer picks up most of the slack. It's a long press conference, but here are the main points. 1, everybody is lying about Puffy having a gun. It was found in the front seat and had nothing to do. 2, Puffy didn't tell his driver. He denied any confrontation having ever taken place in the club.
Get him, it's a lie.
Now, one of the main arguments by the prosecution were the 3 guns. Now, 3 straps were recovered in total. 1 on Shine, 1 in the front of Diddy's truck, and 1 on the street, recovered by the police that supposedly they had heard being thrown from the vehicle during the chase. But here's the kicker. All 3 of those guns were the same make, ammunition, and model, suggesting that they had all been purchased together. But don't get it twisted, these guns weren't purchased legally from your local ammunition. They were illegal Smith & Wesson handguns that had been reported stolen from Georgia. And on top of that, the prosecution called in a ballistics expert who suggested that if Puffy was standing exactly where witnesses had claimed he was standing at the time of the shootout, the bullet in the ceiling would have come from a gun that he was holding. One of the biggest bombshells came from Puffy's driver, Wardell Fenderson, who said that when he dropped Puffy off at the club in the SUV, he saw Puffy in the back holding a black hat. Now this is very interesting because if you go back to that initial press conference, he says that Puffy didn't even arrive in his own car, but he arrived in a different vehicle, trying to make the case that if he didn't arrive in the car that the gun was in, then it couldn't have possibly been his. But if he left in a different car to the one that he arrived in, and the gun was in that vehicle, then surely it's more likely that he was carrying that gun around with him, regardless of limousine. Hey, I don't know, call me Detective Traplaw. Puff's driver Fenderson later testified that whilst he was in the precinct, he was offered a bribe by both Diddy and his bodyguard Wolf. Reportedly, Diddy leaned in and said to him quietly, "I'll give you $50,000 us if you say the gun is yours. So combine what the driver said about Puffy arriving at the club with a black gun with the fact that Natanya Rubin said that she saw Puffy pull out a black handgun and then felt that.
Now the shooting's controversial. Shine pulled the trigger, but Diddy was allegedly involved. Now, it turns out claims he was just Diddy's guy in the 1999 nightclub shooting.
Christina Caramo, KK as she's referred to sometimes in this, she required all employees from the butler to the chef, the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch filled with cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana, gummies. Basically, Diddy could ask any of these people at any time, yeah, I'll have some drugs now, please. And they would hand it over. Some people just have too much money. Like, that is mental, innit? And that really paints quite a, like, childlike state of mind that P. Diddy is in, where, like, everyone at all times needs to have, like, his sweets on them at any one point. It's mental, that. And what I will say is the more you read into this, there's such specific details in it that you just think, why would you lie about it? Whether or not this is all true is one thing, but there's a lot of truth in this. It's obvious. And apparently Mr. Jones himself was forced to carry around one of these pouches full of the drugs as well. Now, with Rodney Jones being a record producer himself, he obviously idolized other guys in music, including Stevie J, who worked with P. Diddy. Now, P. Diddy knew that Jones idolized this Stevie J character, so he used that as a way of trying to coerce him into homosexual acts with P. Diddy. So he apparently showed him a video of Stevie J having sex with another man as a way of going, see, we're all doing it. You're the odd one out here. Get yourself in there. What's wrong with you? You know, we're all fucking having a good time here. You don't want to join in. It was a way to further encourage Mr. Jones to have homosexual sex with him.
The whole thing about it, P. Diddy, P. whatever, you gotta really, everybody keep it. I know I probably sound like I'm repeating myself, but I really feel this way. We need to leave Puffy alone. Anytime a guy goes on national TV, express how much he loved this woman, how much he needs this woman, how much he missed this woman, and then just do everything he can for this woman, and she turns around and drops you for a dancer.
What does that tell you? What does that
let you tell you the two things. Either he wasn't, you know,
delivering
coming from the hip with it.
Yeah.
You know, or,
right.
You know, or maybe she just wanted somebody she can just slap around, I thought.
Wow,
this she can bitch slap every now and then. But then again...
Is that embarrassing
then again, I looked at it again, I got to start getting mixed feelings. I said, wait a minute. But Puffy a dancer too. So she probably said, wait a minute. What's the difference between having a dancer with a little money and a dancer with no money? She still have a dancer.
Right.
So pretty soon I think J-Lo finna graduate from the dancers and get some, you know.
So when you were in prison and you'd see that J-Lo broke up with P. Diddy, you would laugh at that. That's, in other words, it's very disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful.
Made him look bad?
Made him look like a bitch.
Right.
If he go around, he promoted her, he helped her, he took us to a certain level, he gave her that ghetto credibility, and he was like telling her, he believed in her, he told her she can do it. And, you know, from the rings, from the chains, and all those type of things, and they say she snitched on him, but I like J-Lo. I think J-Lo very, very good people. I think she got a nice look about herself.
Yeah. If she went out with you, she wouldn't be leaving you, would she?
If she went out with me, her whole attitude would be...
Said Diddy texted, does he still try to holler? He has to, because it's Puff.
No.
No? That was an awkward no, all right.
No, she said no.
Has Diddy ruined it for, like, black guys? Or just hip-hop guys? Like, after him, he's like, I'm not dating no more black hip-hop guys ever again.
You know what? I'm a little bit off musician, so I'm not going to lie. Okay.
Once and for all, clear it up for us. Is J-Lo's ass the best in the business?
Definitely the best in the business.
And did she have to leave you because you cheated on her?
That's what we heard. You cheated.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
That's what you told her anyway, right?
No, I didn't cheat.
Let me tell you something about J-Lo.
Yeah.
Can you believe how much attention this relationship of hers is getting?
It's ridiculous.
With Ben Affleck. And you know what's sad? It's going to end in a divorce just like the other two marriages. You know it and I know it. This girl gets married every year.
In fact, she had a longer relationship with you than she had with any of her husbands.
Yeah. Comment on that.
What do you think, P. Diddy? Is it a great ass or what?
Comment on everything that's just been... So now on this Bad Boy soundtrack...
Hey, attention everyone. Don't ask me no more of the J-Lo questions. It's been beautiful over the last 2
But
years.
it hurts, right? Still?
No, not at all.
So what was he doing in a relationship that you disagree with? It's no relationship I don't think is perfect, but I don't think that, you know, like when we, just for instance, we would come back to the studio and it'd be a bunch of girls in the studio. And he would try to convince her that because he's a superstar, he has to have a lot of girls around like that for his image. But Ms. Lopez been around the block a few times. You know, she been on major networks, you know, stars, dealt with individuals and shit like that. So, you know, what I didn't like is that they used to tag team her on discussion about these girls and stuff that used to be around that used to be disrespectful. You know? And one of the young ladies was overheard saying that she ain't all that. So then Jennifer was about to go at her. So Puff told me to take her home. So I took her home on this particular night, and she went, got the jeans on, put her hair back in a little ponytail, the little bun thing, you know, had the jean jacket on. She might have Vaseline on her ears or whatever like that, sneakers. And she came back to the studio. And Puff had got them girls out of there. You understand? But she act like that she was ready to do something. A lot of investigators following us, you know, I knew they were private eyes because I worked for a private eye company at that time also. That was Elite Investigation on 29th Street between, what was that, 10th and 11th Avenue. It was on 29th Street, Elite Investigation. So you know a lot of the private eyes, different private eye companies. You work with them on different other clients. One time we had Sharon Stone. So I knew a lot of the guys, and I saw a couple of guys who worked a couple of jobs with me before watching us. So I know a couple of guys that were watching us. So I was trying to tell Paul, yo, you know, we got PIs following us. You know what I'm saying? So it was only certain reasons if they was following us, if they was PIs, somebody was trying to find out something on us. And they'll usually be following us, not when we're going to a big party and stuff like that. They'll just be following me and Puff on our days that we were out and about and we were going certain places. So either somebody hired private eyes to follow us on behalf of Jennifer Lopez,